Imagine Okinawa in 1975. A young Tokyo cardiologist, Dr. Makoto Suzuki, is called to investigate an odd report. A 100-year-old woman in Yomitan village is out in the fields cutting grass with a sickle. Expecting frailty, he drives over and instead meets a woman so energetic and tireless that she sees nothing unusual about herself. That moment reorients his career. It sparks a 5-decade quest that points to mechanisms already working inside the human body, mechanisms that could plausibly add years, even decades to a healthy life. At the same time, another Japanese researcher is closing in on a breakthrough that will later be honored with a Nobel Prize. Dr. Yoshinori Osumi uncovers tiny custodians inside every cell capable of clearing out precancerous threats, mobilizing fat for fuel, and repairing age-related wear. There is a catch: these microscopic crews clock in only under particular conditions. And here's the twist: everyday routines that seem harmless often keep them idle. What follows is how these Japanese scientists decoded the rules of cellular renewal, and how you can begin turning that system on as soon as tonight. Rewind to 1988. The day that reshaped Dr. Osumi's work. Peering at yeast through a microscope, he wrestles with a maddening question he has chased for months. Why do cells sometimes consume parts of themselves? Many colleagues wave it off as mere trash removal. He refuses to drop it. He engineers yeast with special traits, withholds nutrients, and then watches something remarkable. New intracellular structures appear and behave like tiny Pac-Man figures, biting into damaged components and converting them into energy and fresh building material. In that instant, the pattern becomes clear. The cell isn't just taking out the trash, it's renewing itself. He had uncovered autophagy, literally self-eating the body's most potent anti-aging engine. This isn't simple housekeeping. Think of it as sending in a renovation crew that tears down worn components and rebuilds the cell to perform even better. The finding rattled the scientific world. Here was concrete evidence that the human body carries a built-in youth-preserving program, yet there was a condition. Autophagy powers up only when the system senses a state of scarcity. Then came the breakthrough insight. Dr. Yoshinori Osumi realized that the everyday eating rhythm of Japanese centenarians was unintentionally triggering this response meal after meal. Meanwhile, in Okinawa, the image of that grass-cutting centenarian stayed with Dr. Makoto Suzuki. He began visiting more elders, and what he saw challenged the usual script on aging. They weren't merely living longer, they were living better. At 95, many still tended fields. At 100, they continued to dance. Their arteries often looked cleaner than those of people decades younger. Cancer appeared strikingly rare. Their advantage didn't come from drugs or medical interventions. It came from a quiet ritual repeated 3 times a day. Dr. Suzuki discovered they practiced an old Confucian guideline called Hara Hachi Bu. Before eating, they would remind themselves, stop at about 80% full, not stuffed, not fully satisfied, comfortably content. Simple words, but Suzuki grasped the deeper physiology. By ending a meal near 80%, these elders created just the right nudge to flip on autophagy. Their cells felt a gentle stress signal, enough to start cleanup, and repair not enough to harm. Picture each cell as a factory line. Constant overfeeding keeps every worker chained to incoming orders with no pause for maintenance. Ease off at 80%, and the night crew finally clocks in, scrubbing, repairing, and hauling out broken equipment. The narrative grows even stronger with the example of Dr. Shigeyaki Hinohara, revered across Japan. He didn't just write about these principles, he lived them day in and day out until the age of 105. Early in his career, Dr. Hinhara noticed a pattern in patients with severe digestive problems. Their skin aged faster, their energy sagged, and their immune systems underperformed. He drew a clear conclusion that gut health functions as the master switch for the rest of the body. His longevity routine was remarkably simple. He took a light breakfast, kept lunch modest, made dinner the main meal, finished eating by 6 p.m., and then avoided food until 10 a.m. The result was a 16-hour nightly interval that allowed repair systems to switch on. The outcomes spoke for themselves. At 100, he continued treating patients. At 102, he flew to New York to give a lecture. He often put in 18-hour workdays and felt more vigorous than people far younger. When asked for his secret, he would smile and say that he gives his body time to clean the house every night. At the same time, Dr. Hiromi Shina was uncovering observations that startled the medical community. A Japanese-American physician who helped reframe how clinicians view the digestive tract, he spent 3 decades examining more than 300,000 colons and learned to read overall health from that single vantage point. Diets heavy in processed foods, meat and dairy, correlated with colons that were thickened, shortened, and clearly injured. Traditional Japanese eating patterns aligned with longer, cleaner colons that looked years younger. The most striking finding was that the healthiest intestines belonged to people who regularly granted their digestion long rests. They were not chasing fashionable diets or expensive supplements. They were following ancestral rhythms by eating within a shorter daily window and fasting for extended stretches. His conclusion was straightforward. Constant intake robs the gut of the time it needs to repair, whereas a 14 to 16-hour rest allows the lining to regenerate the liver, to run deep cleaning, and the body as a whole to pivot into restoration mode. All of this converges on a step you can start tonight. Dr. Osumi's Nobel-recognized work shows that autophagy does not turn on. At random, it reaches a high point during a specific window. Sleep contributes, yet the most intense activity occurs in the last hours, before waking once the fast has lasted 12 to 16 hours. That is when the cellular janitors perform their heaviest shift. Modern meal timing, by contrast, often halts the process just as it's hitting its stride. We roll out of bed and immediately pour in calories, sending a clear signal: stop the cleanup, new supplies have arrived. The Japanese centenarians did the opposite. They stretched that prime fasting window, sometimes out to 16 or even 18 hours, so cells didn't merely cope, they rebounded, rebuilding and growing more resilient. Dr. Makoto Suzuki's long-running observations revealed another key distinction. Okinawan elders weren't simply eating less. Their staples differed from much of Japan. Where white rice dominated elsewhere, Okinawans leaned on purple sweet potatoes. That choice was deliberate in effect. These tubers carry compounds that encourage autophagy and, thanks to a low glycemic impact, avoid the insulin surge that would otherwise switch off cellular cleanup. Energy stays steady and the body remains in a repair-friendly mode. And that was just the start. Suzuki recorded meals filled with bitter melon, seaweed, tofu, and a rainbow of vegetables. Each food acted like a specific instrument in a cellular restoration toolkit. Bitter melon supports blood sugar control and helps keep insulin in check, crucial for maintaining autophagy. Seaweed delivers minerals that aid the body's detox systems. Color-rich produce supplies antioxidants that protect cells as repairs proceed. One subtle habit often overlooked: they were equally intentional about beverages. Suzuki noticed that many of the most robust elders practiced a long, unhurried tea ritual. It wasn't only soothing teas such as jasmine green tea and distinctive Okinawan blends contain compounds that reinforce autophagy. Polyphenols in green tea, for instance, guard cellular components during cleanup and rebuilding. Slow, mindful sipping also dampened impulsive snacking by anchoring attention, another way they unintentionally optimized regeneration. Dr. Shigeaki Hinohara refined his approach to the day's first calories with a simple tweak. Instead of a heavy breakfast, he began with fresh vegetable juice, often carrot or apple, plus a tablespoon of olive oil. This wasn't just about nutrients. The olive oil tempered glucose absorption, blunting the insulin rise that can shut autophagy down. The juice supplied key nutrients without overloading a digestive system that had been busy all night with cleansing and repair. Just as important, he would drink only half a glass, then wait 20 minutes before touching any solid food, allowing the body to glide from fasting to feeding and capture advantages from both states. Working independently, Dr. Suzuki, Dr. Hinhara, and Dr. Shina arrived at the same verdict. Timing is not merely helpful, it is decisive. Human biology runs on ancient cycles of eating and resting. When we graze from morning to midnight, we undercut the very machinery designed to guard youth and health. Their common recommendation is simple: finish dinner by 6 or 7 of p.m. Go to bed with a hint of hunger after waking. Hold off at least 12 hours, and if possible, 16 before the first substantial meal. In that window, your internal crews operate at full throttle, repairing damage, clearing metabolic byproducts, and rebuilding tissues from within. Unlike headline-grabbing fasts, this strategy is not about harsh restrictions or extremes. It is about cooperating with your physiology the way Okinawan centenarians have done for generations. There is a sobering trend to note. In Dr. Suzuki's more recent observations, younger Okinawans are losing the longevity advantage. As Western patterns creep in with processed snacks, constant nibbling, and late meals, their outcomes start to resemble those seen in the United States. This makes one point unmistakable: genes do not rule the future. The elders do not flourish because of rare DNA, they flourish because of precise daily choices. Change the choices and the results follow. The encouraging corollary is equally strong. If modern habits can erode lifespan, centenarian habits can help rebuild it. Your repair pathways are ready to respond the moment they receive the right cues. To put this into practice tonight, and drawing on 5 decades of insights from these Japanese pioneers, use this stepwise activation plan. In week 1, practice Hara Hachi Bu at each meal. Pause around the point of 80% fullness. You are not counting, you are paying attention. Aim to feel content, but not heavy satisfied, without post-meal drowsiness. In week 2, lengthen the overnight break between meals. Start with a 12-hour gap from dinner to breakfast. If you finish at 7:00 p.m., do not eat again until 7:00 a.m. As this becomes comfortable, move to 14 hours, then 16. In week 3, reshape your mornings, skip the rush to solid food, and begin with fresh vegetable juice or a cup of herbal tea. Wait 20 minutes, then choose a light nutrient-dense first meal built around vegetables, healthy fats, and high-quality proteins. In week 4, upgrade your main meal. Using the Okinawan pattern as a guide, turn it into a colorful spread of whole foods: purple sweet potatoes, leafy greens, seaweed tofu, and modest servings of fish or lean meat. Season generously with turmeric, ginger, and garlic, each known to support autophagy. As your cellular cleanup crews regain full strength, expect improvements to roll in phases much like Dr. Makoto Suzuki noted among centenarians. During days 1 through 7, energy often rises, especially late in the afternoon, where a slump once lived. Sleep becomes deeper as your body settles back into its natural repair cycles. Through weeks 2 to 4, mental sharpness often surges. That familiar fog lifts skin, can look clearer and more luminous. Clothes may start to fit differently, even without deliberate weight loss, a sign that metabolism is recalibrating toward efficiency. From months 2 to 6, the shift becomes unmistakable. Immune resilience strengthens. Minor aches and pains fade into the background. Friends may comment that you look brighter and younger. Energy evens out into a steady hum instead of dramatic highs and lows. As of this writing, Dr. Makoto Suzuki continues his work at age 92. He even took up a new instrument, a 3-string sanlei, a testament to the curiosity and joy of learning he observed in centenarians and still lives by himself. Dr. Yoshinori Osumi's Nobel recognized research has inspired thousands of subsequent studies, all echoing the lesson he first glimpsed in yeast. Your body holds an extraordinary capacity to renew itself, provided the conditions are right. The guidance offered by these Japanese pioneers isn't locked behind expensive treatments or complicated regimens. It's accessible to anyone willing to move with the body's ancient rhythms rather than fight them. If you finish your last meal a bit earlier tonight, remember you're not merely adjusting a timetable. You're waking repair systems that may have been waiting years, even decades, for this cue. You're stepping into a lineage that stretches through generations of the world's longest-lived communities. Your turning point starts with one choice. Give your body the time it needs to heal, restore, and regenerate. The results confirmed across thousands of Japanese centenarians are nothing short of remarkable. If uncovering the science of cellular renewal has motivated you to unlock your own potential, type yes in the comments. Your engagement helps us continue bringing this transformative research to more people. Tap like if you're ready to begin your longevity path. Share this with someone who could benefit from these insights, and subscribe for more evidence-based findings that may add years, even decades, to your life. Thank you for being part of this journey toward peak health and long life.